Brooklyn, nigga trap. Handling the big cat. What? My army got my big dad. But we live what you read about. And any time of the day we bring the heaters out. My niggas stacked up a toe and brought the beamer out. And now you're wondering what Cocoa B's about.
And you are now tuned in to episode 370 of the most live and direct show on the web, in the streets, in the industry, off the cuff radio. I am your host, King Eric the Great, aka Rick Capo, alongside with my co-host T Max with the facts.
What it do? Sunday Fun Day, OTC, Off the Cuff Radio in the building. Shout out to our host and spirit, a lot of Sandman, Lady Chinchilla, so Trilla. Shout out to Core Financial, Jesse's Boutique, Dirty Basement Radio, and Buddy Boy Entertainment. We are most live and direct, the worldwide live, all things radio flow. And King, once again, in the illustrious history of Off the Cuff Radio, the outstanding broadcast that we do, we've had legends. We've had more legends, and now we got another legendary guest who is one half of one of the most legendary groups in hip-hop history joining us tonight.
Yes, indeed, man. This group here was part of the soundtrack of those hot summers. I'm talking classics after classics. Soundboy Bureau, the Black Trump, when he was liked, One by One, the Super Brooklyn Brothers that we just played, and not to mention the stuff that they played, with the Boot Camp Clique, and of course, these guys were so respected that the late Tupac Shakur wanted to rock with them on the One Nation, and they still doing it big today on the underground tip, keeping it fly, keeping it wavy, and still putting it down like no other. So without further ado, introduce General Steele from Smif N, y'all.
Yeah.
Yo, power to the people. Y'all can hear me?
Yes,
we
sir.
Can hear you great, man. It's an honor and a privilege.
Man. Give thanks. Listen, man, I was just listening to that joint just now. I was like, yo, who them cats you playing on the radio? Go B, BROOKLYN with a couple. Yeah. Yo, how y'all brothers doing this evening, man? Shout to the people.
Hey, man, we blessed, bro.
Oh man, give thanks, man.
And yo,
yes, sir. Likewise.
Look, but that's and King, still, we also got to give our listeners, because that Super Brooklyn joint is one of the hardest joints y'all ever did.
Man,
we're going to get into it as to how y'all flipped that on that Super Mario.
Yes,
for those that don't know it, it's on the Game Over soundtrack, released 2001, Yosumi Records. How do I know? How do we know now? Because I have it on my record shelf. So
that's sweet, though. That's sweet. Big up to the homie DJ Rob. DJ Rob produced that track. You know what I mean? That's when we was on our 78, 88. That's the name of the studio we used to go to, and like on a borderline of Brooklyn and Queens. And yeah, man, we recorded that over there with DJ Rob and the Big Bro, man. That was a powerful joint.
And you guys were one of the few, to my knowledge. It could have been some, but y'all were the first to really, part of the first to bring video game sample to the table. Because I remember when times where people were scared to even sample that because them sample rights were crazy.
It's still like that, beloved. I ain't gonna hold you because right after we did it, I forget the homie that did it. I forget the guy that did the joint, man. I'm mad at myself for forgetting his name because son was from the Clovers, but he used to always wear the Clovers. You know what I'm talking about? From down south.
You said clothes, like he had a clothing line?
He used to always wore the Clovers, like the green Clovers.
Clovers,
Little
Flip.
These were the Little Flip, exactly.
Yeah. Little Flip.
Yeah,
Texas.
exactly.
Little Flip, yeah.
Little Flip. Right after us, Little Flip did something with
Game Over.
I don't know
he
what,
did a joint Game Over with the
he did a joint.
Yeah.
But you know, it's always like you said. I mean, that's 100%. Like getting those copyrights is like almost impossible, man. We did that song, and everybody wanted that song. Like labels was really at that time we wasn't even signed. You know what I mean? We was in between deals, and then we had got up with Raucus, and Raucus, the people at Raucus was like, "Yo, we gonna clear this." We was like, "Yeah, really? Oh yeah." Who you know, Slick?
Look, they said that with some certainty. Like, no, it's getting.
Yeah, with super certain. They're like, nah, we gonna do this. Nah, don't worry about it. We gonna make some phone calls, and then I'm like, okay. Like, yo, everybody else is trying to do this thing, man. But I promise you, man, a lot of people like that helped us stay afloat at that time, especially when we didn't have a deal. We was, surfing in between deals and stuff. Like, yeah, it definitely helped.
Steele,
you started from the beginning. Before we go into the middle and the beginning, man, we want to put your bass, who's already on tune with what you guys doing.
Yeah.
You dropped the new album, Amerikkas Nightmare 3.
Yes, sir.
You care to tell us about it?
Oh man, Amerikkas Nightmare got people shook. It felt like another Mobb Deep episode. Sunday shook. Ain't no such thing as halfway cooked. Yo, people is scared to death. I'm getting calls from my people. They like, yo, they banned your video on YouTube. I'm like, that's right. They're supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not afraid, then you ain't making people think. You know? Like, what do you feel? Like, it's like when people used to say back in the day, like, yo, pinch me, let me know I'm still awoke type stuff. That's a pinch. Amerikkas Nightmare is a hell of a pinch right there. Because when you take the mirror and you hold it in the face of America, they got to embrace themselves. And a lot of people don't like how they look. So Amerikkas Nightmare, big up to my bro, SK from Vermont, Burlington, for doing all the production. Big up to all of the DJs, DJ Hart, Crumb, oh man, I'm gonna mess up everybody's name right now.
It's all good.
Big up to all the DJs that did all the cuts on there. DJ Crazy Bizarro, like we wanted to keep it hip hop, and we wanted to talk to the people because we know hip hop is a universal language. So we try to keep it to the people, but it's a lot of how do you say? It's a lot of touching subjects that when you bring up, people become very they start fidgeting in their seat and stuff like that. So Amerikkas Nightmare is going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to make you face the facts that you already probably know. You should know. You know what I mean? Unless you was born even if you was born in 2000, right? You should know this history of America. And I decided to say, yo, let's bring it to the forefront. Let's talk about it a little bit. Not to smear it in no one's face, but let's acknowledge, before we move any further, especially in this time, after dealing with the pandemic, after coming up for 4 years of Donald Trump, it's like, all right, who are we? So let's look at us as African Americans, as Native Americans, as Latin Americans. Like, when we look at this big United States flag, what do we see? It's interesting.
One thing about it, Steele, is when you're looking at what you said, and you say it with such passion and such resonance, when we look at the politics of this country, because when we look at hip-hop first in terms of what the culture, what the music represents, it was an outward manifestation of expression for the marginalized, people of this country, namely
Absolutely.
the black and brown.
Absolutely.
And as it progressed, we saw more of the political edges. I mean, we look at Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the message.
Salute.
That was really where you could say that's where it started. And then, then when it comes to, I just got
goosebumps just now when you said that. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What? You don't know the message? Google the message. You kidding me? That is the foundation. That's a fact. Oh, my goodness. Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you
he
take
was
it to
laying down on that, man.
Yeah, and I mean 1987 with Public Enemy, Bum Rush the Show that would really take it to political.
Top 5 dead or alive, huh? Salute Chuck.
Yeah.
Word. That's a fact.
Hey, Steele, now when you listen now,
yes,
you know,
sir.
crafting this album right here. Now, did you study those monumental albums for the content?
I already know those albums. You know what I mean? I know those because I grew up off of those albums. Like, Chuck D is one of my top guys. Public Enemy is one of my top groups of all time. You know what I mean? Like, top 10. These guys are the guys who pretty much introduced me to what it was going to be. Like, when you see us on that Soldier stuff, like, PE they've been rocking BDUs and boots. They probably wasn't rocking Timberland boots, but they was rocking BDUs. We talk about my '98 posse, like when Chuck D was on the cover with shotguns and stuff like that, and Cadillac.
Yeah, they were on it.
What? Come on, right? Like even when people don't realize, like, when in the '80s, hip hop exploded for us here. So anything that we was listening to, we was even listening to Too Short, we was listening to Ice-T. So we was hip to the cats on the Bay Area side. We was from the east to west with it. You know what I mean? And what we learned a lot, like Chuck D, I'm glad you even brought Chuck D because I learned about Joanne Chesimard. You know, Chuck D is a guy that talk about Malcolm X. You know, Malcolm X, they don't talk about Malcolm X in public school. You know what I'm saying? 85, it's like, nah, you can't hear about that. Where can we go and hear that? That's like forbidden fruit. You know, so of course, like that was already instilled in us. You know, I grew up off of that. So yeah, I had to give back. I pay homage to that group, to that person, to people who was from that cloth every chance I get. You know what I mean? So absolutely, that formula is going to be, anytime you hear albums of this caliber, that formula is going to be embedded in there some kind of way, you know?
Yeah, and one thing about it, when you're looking at the rebel spirit of what the music entailed, it was always about speaking on what was going on in society. You know, hip-hop is always, you know, from its nascent phases, because we always, you know, when we talk with our guests, we always take it through the essence going back, you know, of course, with the Sugar Hill Gang in 78. But even when you break it back further, when you're dealing with the last poets, rest in peace, Gil Scott Heron and all of those guys, and even taking it back to James Brown and the JBs in terms of where the rhythm, the ad-libs, a lot of those, you know, everything, the sonic foundation was laid even with that. And this will be wild for a lot of our listeners, but you got to listen to some of his stuff, too. The original Outlaw, Johnny Cash. When you listen to Folsom County Blues.
That's real. That the black suit,
you know,
walking that line. That's a fact.
Yeah, the man in black. Yeah.
Yep.
So you're looking at, when you're bringing all these groups together and artists collectively, this is almost 70 years of hip hop culture in terms of what it meant is being a social commentary, and then culminating, like you said, Steele, into the 80s where we really see it fully blossom. I mean, of course, Public Enemy was going to be the rebel spirit, you know, like Chuck D said, I'm going to slam it down your throat like Barkley. You know, this would bring, you know,
see my car keys, you'll never get these. They belong to the 9-8 posse.
Yeah. I mean,
they had that rebel fight music, man. Even with my all-time favorite album, Fear of a Black Planet, had Mike Tyson coming down to the ring with Welcome to the Terror Dome. It was beautiful.
And yo, you gotta say, you know, you gotta, you know, I don't wanna like, you getting me way too hyped talking about too much Chuck D stuff, because you gotta now, you just made me think about, like, that era was interesting because everybody had to have a song with that type of commentary. Like, you can't forget the God MC. You know, he came with telling people about the Book of Life. You know what I mean? And how he did it in such a poetic way made the gods proud. You know, made peace to the gods and earths out there that's on check-in. You know what I mean? Salam to my brothers, my Akis, my sisters out there. And at the same time, you got a individual like Big Daddy Kane, King Asiatic. You know, he comes with Young, Gifted, and Black. You know? Then, you know, there's so many artists And salute to all the artists that participated in the Self-Destruction Project. You know, big up to my bro, big up to my big homie Daddy O, that's Sonic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And of course, still we got to give everybody a history on Big Daddy Kane. Of course, Big Daddy Kane, Kane, meaning King Asiatic, nobody's equal.
Nobody's equal.
I mean,
that's right.
You all came at a time because we're loving this conversation. What we do it off the cuff, it's always off the cuff, but we always bring it back. The musical education of what you and Tech had with Smif and Wesson obviously was formulated. It was forged during that time.
Absolutely.
When did you know? When was it a situation? Because of course we're going to take it. We're going to let our listeners know. We're going to give them the history of when you all first made your appearance on Black Moon's End of the Stage, 1993. Right. That was my God.
Lord have mercy.
You the man. Ooh, I mean, when we heard that album, we were like, "Yo, what is this?"
Yeah. Nah, that's the kickoff.
When did you really start getting into your lyric writing? When did you meet Tech? When did you know this is what you were destined to do, being not only an MC but one of the most elite and legendary ever in the game? Because there's a lot to cover in terms of how you got Buckshot and Boot, everything. I'm gonna try to
answer all three of those right there. When I started forging my rap stuff is when I was a fan of all of those guys that we just named. You know what I mean? Because I ain't gonna lie. Before I was able to find myself, I had to listen to what was there, what information and what intel was available. And all of these guys was there. Like even guys like for me and Tech, like we listened to guys like EPMD. You know what I mean? Like we listened to the duos. Before we became a duo, I was a solo artist. So as a solo artist, I'm listening to everything I get my hands on. One of the baddest solo artists is Slick Rick, one of the best storytellers in the game. It's like how do you communicate with people something that you want them to understand, and just trying to get that together. It was a journey, and then you meet a Buckshot. I met Tech in high school, so by the time I got to high school. Like, I wasn't trying to be no rapper, you know what I mean? Like, high school was scary in New York City. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to high school in Manhattan, and I thought I was getting away from Brooklyn. When I went to high school in Manhattan, it was scary, man. You know what I mean? My high school was called Printing, Graphic Communication Arts, a.k.a. the High School of Printing, like newspaper printing and paper printing and stuff like that. And so that's propaganda. And that's when I got there. I had no idea that's where the Decepticons, that was a base of operations. If anybody's familiar with the Decepticons, the gang Decepticons, when you went there, that's what you saw. It was like, oh my gosh, what school did I pick just now? Like, all of them things started to help kind of shape and mold what you would know as all that PNC stuff, because PNC started as what a lot of people don't know. PNC started from Decept, because Tech and I are part of Power Masters, right? That is a legion within the Decepticons that came later. But we used to say PM all the time, right? So we said PM and we say perfect man. Right? That means if you're a perfect man, that means you know how to fight. That means you got respect. And that means you carry yourself a certain way. So we were like, we all PM. And then slowly but surely, PM started to become PNC. So before we even started doing the raps, we was carving the niches out. And then when it was time to kind of lay it down, we was already talking about Bucktown and Boot Camp Click. That was the soldier stuff that we was really on. Salute to all the soldiers. Salute to everybody that served in the military, Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard. Salute to all the people that's active, the ones that's retired, all that. Salute to all the veterans out there in the world too. That gave us our juice, man. That put us in a place and like, okay, let's go. You know? And when we did that joint with Buck, Lord of mercy. Night. We sat there like the students, you know what I mean? We sat there like the apprentices, and we was in every session until that one session when Buck said, "Yo, you know what? This is the joint. This is your joint. Tonight we're doing this." And we stepped to the plate, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. You know.
And it's wild still because, and I got to shamelessly plug Source Magazine because I'm 43, have every issue ever since I was 15 from 1994. And there's one particular, and I got to send you this picture too. I'll send you some of the memorabilia I got. But I have actually the Source Magazine when Bucktown was actually first featured, when y'all first got that buzz out there. I actually got that in the Sure Shot singles. I got to dig through the magazines, but I actually have
Wow. I don't know if I have that one.
I'm going to send it to King, and he's going to send it to you.
The only Source Magazine I do have is the one with, I think, in 95. Is that the same one where they had like all the groups that came out that same year?
Yeah,
that's a different one.
This year in 95, the year of 95. I have
that one, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For sure. I got that copy, but I'm a pack rat.
Yeah, man. But I mean, the Black Moon Enter the Stage was so monumental. But when we first heard Bucktown, I mean, we were like,
that's like
whoa,
brother. That's like hardcore
I walk
blues,
around
man.
town with that first verse. Your first verse up there. I walk around town with the 9 strapped down by the side, no fronting, just in case I gotta smoke something. Round here, heads don't act they age. It might be another rude boy. I'm like, yo.
And let me tell y'all had the country boys out here taking off the flip flops and putting on the boots.
Hey, let me tell you something. When I see a lot of cats in the country growing dreadlocks, I'm like, yeah, you already know what time it is. They boot camp fans, that's for sure. They're my bro, that's my kinfolk right there. Word, this is my kin. And like we all from the same tree, man. You know, that's beautiful.
So, tell everybody what it was like growing up in New York back then, man. Because, of course, we're going as we get into it, we're going to talk about another one of your distinguished alumni brothers who was part of the DMs and one of the best MCs ever as well. But what was it just like in New York in terms of that scene? Because, King and myself, we talk about this all the time on the air and off there with our guests, especially the era of that early 90s. When we look at, and when we talk about the 90s in terms of 1990 to 94, because that's when y'all album would officially drop, but when we look at the albums in that era, we're looking at Dr. Dre's The Chronic, we're looking at Ice-T, Original Gangster, we're looking at Ice Cube's Amerikkas Most Wanted, Kool G Rap, Live and Let Die, 1992, Deadly Threat, Sick in the Head, Cam, Never Again, 1993 both.
Word.
Yeah.
Heavy gym.
Yeah. Can't forget EPMD's Business Never Personal and Redman's What the Album. So you all were coming at a time where, and Method Man's To Cal 1994, Wu-Tang 1993, I could go on. You all came at a time where it was crazy. What was it like with the hip-hop scene during that era?
It was super fun. It was incredible. Let's not forget Gangstar was still out.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Guru. Guru was still running around. And you had guys like Mobb Deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, for us, it was like, yo, take your seat next to the great, and you better wear it properly. Because if you mess this up, we're going to kick you out of the room. How the young guys say, we're going to kick you out the whip immediately. I'm like, yo, me and Tech ain't getting kicked out of no whip. That's a fact. We coming in here, and we're going to represent how we know best to do. And, they accepted us. The people accepted us. The alumni accepted us. And it took, for me, man, that was incredible, bro, because it's like, now you get to see some of these guys who you used to listen to. You couldn't get close to these people. There's no Instagram. Guru ain't had no Instagram page. You know what I'm saying? Big Daddy Kane ain't got no Instagram page. Rakim ain't got no Instagram page. I know these brothers today. You feel me? Like, as a kid, watching them and going, yo, one day. And I had so much respect for them then, and I have even more now. But if you don't want to drop the ball when you around greatness like that. And I'm grateful to be a part of that club because some young brothers don't know these guys, and I would hate to be in any type of industry where you don't know the history of the industry. So I'm grateful to be counted amongst the greats, man. Trust me when I tell you, man. That's a beautiful feeling, man. It's real,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got a question submitted from, big shout out to the Collie, one of the best hip hop sites up there. They keep on doing their thing. And this dude here got a question about the Shinin. He want to know about the re-release of the Shinin with radio edits or the singles included along with remixes as a second disc. He said, one time, I even video version is dope as fuck. It's very close to it. I rank the Shinin ahead of the Infamous. I'm a Flatbush head, though.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's big. That's big.
Great.
That's big. Mobb Deep, that's our bros, man. That's our family. That's kinfolk. So it's like we all up there neck and neck. But that's dope because rest in power, Bandana P, Prodigy, our brother. I think the re-release is like it's crazy that you even bring that up because Buckshot hated doing clean versions of records. He hated it. So when we sat back and we would watch him get so ticked off at having to change vocals, me and Tech was like, yo, let's just do it. So it made for easier, when you talk to us, it seemed like it might have been more difficult, but it's like, yo, we want to get the message to the people. So if we got to change a word or two here and there, then change the word, man. Make it for the people. Like, as we get older, we start to know that we don't need to use profanity to get our point across. Every now and again, you're gonna lay down an F word, an F-bomb, or, you know what I'm saying, some one or two other things, but then you start going to the radio station, they're like, yo, you can't curse on there, yo. Let me hear a freestyle. It's like, wow, wait, all my raps got something crazy in it. So you start learning how to mature, grow up, and speak to the people. This is what you're doing. You're not rhyming in the bathroom. You're not singing in the shower anymore. So it's like, yo, let's communicate with the folks out there. For real.
Now, one thing about it, Steele, when we take it back, because when you talk about it, such high praise with Mobb Deep, because we got to give our fans a little trivia, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But one of the tracks off of Into the Stage, Black Smif N Wesson was just on some shit. I mean, when you have that, when you bring in that string, and you got that sweeping string section with the Jamaican chant, and then you got
salute the beat miners. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know what they was on, yo. Whatever they was on, great. They need more of that. Let's pump that in there in their veins right there. I know that when we sat in the studio, we wasn't even in D&D studios yet. Salute to everybody at D&D, Dave and Doug and D&D. But we was at, I think the name of the studio was called Calliope. And that was like a dope studio back in the days too. But they ain't have no heat in that mofo. You know what I'm saying? It's like we was literally under blankets in there, like, yo. So when it was time to rhyme, that's when you get your heat at. You know? Mm-hmm. And once that track came on, man, everything went, all the lights came on in that piece. You know what I'm saying? I think, these guys, they laced us, man. They laced us. Talk about an alley-oop, and then You the Man after that, following, with one of our Mobb Deep brothers, Havoc on there.
Because Havoc was on. Yeah, Havoc was on.
Crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
What a lot of people don't know is that we try to do, Black Moon tried to do a remix to You the Man and put Prodigy was on it, but it never came out. I don't know whatever happened to that, to them vocals, or I don't know, but Prodigy was on the, You the Man remix, but that was an honor, man. Nothing less.
Now, what was it like during the time with albums being marketed? Because, you all I mean, by the time heads really got that palate, that that feast of hip hop. I mean, y'all, when heads really began to recognize y'all, it really set y'all up perfectly. I mean, in terms of videos, publications, what was that like during the time in marketing for helping y'all to really, like you say, you got the alley-oop, and then of course, you get the actual. Franchise support when you have all of these different outlets who are like really pushing y'all as well. Like, yo, these kids are next. How has the marketing been different from what it is now musically?
Man, well, I think we came out like you said it earlier, because when we came out, everybody was thirsty. Everybody was hungry. All the publications, all the video shows. Multiple plural video shows, not just in Brooklyn and Manhattan, but all across the region. You had people that was promoting hip hop music at a high rate, and for us, we was coming through. We knew we had to represent Brooklyn to the fullest. At the time we came out, well, how we looked at it was nobody was representing Brooklyn. The guys before us represented, but at that present time, we're going to be the vanguard. We're going to be the poster child for that. We lucked up because we made some really great relationships. One of our great relationships was with the big homie Drew High. Drew High was an intern. He started as an intern at Nervous Records. And from interning, you do a lot of phone calls and a lot of email. I mean, a lot of, mailing people. So you kind of have a rapport with different labels and stuff like that. So we just kept our relationships at a certain base. If we want to use them later, then one hand wash the other. Like one of our sister labels was Loud, right? We had people at Loud. Drew High, his good friend Rob Stone was running Loud, And it's like when you see us on the soundtrack with the one-on-one joint, it's like. It's family looking out for family. And we got people who we knew people at the Source magazine, like that when the Source magazine was just really popping. We knew people there. Not, and they wasn't giving us, and they wasn't doing the nepotism thing, but they knew that we was going to come up, so they gave us opportunity to represent ourselves. And, we just try to keep that alive and not look a gift horse in the mouth. And just represent it in a proper way. And I think people respect us for doing that. We never, I think the difference now is that now everybody got a cell phone and everybody has their own promo master. Everybody got their own videographer master. Like when we was doing videos, a lot of our first early videos, many of the videos that we did on the Shinin, we piggybacked off of Black Moon, straight like that. Like we was next. So a lot of the directors, they was fresh and they was new in the game and they was, trying to break into hip hop. Some of them was directors that may have worked on movies or did some things prior to that. But who's not going to take two checks? You know what I mean? We're going to give you a check and a half of another check for checking Steele. You cool? Yeah, let me get that. Word. And then we coming through with our songs of substance. So we was able to ride the wave of Black Moon for a little bit, playing our position, playing our slot. And then we're just a real beautiful, hungry radio personalities. I'm talking about across the nation. Like I remember going to Miami and meeting DJ Khaled when he was on the radio. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I remember going to the A, to Atlanta, and meeting Chris Lover. Y'all know who Chris Lover is?
Ludacris.
Chris Lover and Poon Daddy.
Yes.
I remember going to the spot and meeting these guys. These were the guys that at that point in time, everybody was really hungry for the game. So, you had to be a vanguard. You know what I mean? And people respect that. And I think that we came in a point where we had to learn about the game. Like it was like literally hands-on stuff. Right now, I think it's a lack of respect to some levels. Like some of these younger brothers, they don't care about what happened before. So it's like if they get offered bread, if you can get you can become an internet star, then you don't care about the culture. And at some point, not only does the culture suffer, but some of these young brothers is getting smashed and slaughtered in the street. So I'm grateful to be a part of that time and be a part of that culture. I'm grateful to know Ludacris. I had a conversation with Ludacris. I could talk to him. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful upbringing when you're surrounded by all these great individuals. It's cutthroat though. It wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? It was not easy. By no means was it easy. We grew up in New York City where you got guys like Funkmaster Flex, and everybody is trying to get at Flex. Everybody wants Flex to drop a bomb or something like that. You know, but it was tough. You know, you also got the Underground Railroad, and you also got guys like Bobito the Barber, and like all right, so
Stretch and Bobito,
Stretch and Bobito. So you like, yo, I don't have to, if I'm not on Flex, I'm going up top with these guys. I'm going to be on the underground college stations. That's one thing that's missing now, too, like college radio. You know, terrestrial radio itself is suffering. Not to have terrestrial radio is kind of like disappointing right now. But then we have all these other facets that can kind of like fill in the blanks, but it's nothing like terrestrial radio. It's nothing like getting up at 10 in the morning and hearing Bucktown on the radio when you're on your way to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's phenomenal. You know. So, but now, you know, it's a little bit more challenging, and it's so many things at our fingertips that you got to be careful, make sure your fingers ain't slippery. You know.
Facts.
Yeah.
And you know, we're going on to y'all talk about hit records, man. One of the biggest records that popped for you guys, and we heard it here in the Carolinas, was Soundboy Burrow.
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
Yes, sir. Which is
club
interesting.
banger right there. Now, when you see that song start blowing up, what was your reaction to that, man?
I'm gonna lie, it's a shocker because it's really like a dirty record. It's a dirty Brooklyn, Flatbush, you know, Crown Heights record. And then you got to realize, like, wow, you know how many first-generation West Indians that's across the region spread out? You didn't think about that. We was too young to think strategically like that at the time. We just was like, when we heard it, we was like, yo, nah, we're going to do this. This is a dirty record. Oh, this is crazy. This is underground. This is going to be like some Sound Clash type vibe. Yo, world, we're going to be in there like, because that's how we was moving in the club anyway. That's how it felt to us. We were young guys in the club, you know, camouflaged up, Timberland up, and dark clubs, sweaty ceiling, you know what I mean? Ceiling dripping on you and all of that. So like, yo, we want that vibe. We wanted to feel like that. It's crazy because I just met this brother today. Big up. He probably ain't listening, but I'm going to pick him up anyway. His name is War Hussein. He's like, yo, I got a clothing line. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I want you to, you know, I want to get some clothes to you. I said, he had on all camouflage. I said, if you got stuff with, you got camouflage stuff? He's like, I got everything. I said, all right, cool. Now we talking. If none of your stuff is camo, then I don't know, bro. You know what I mean? He's like, yo, I was in the video. I was in the Soundboy Burial video. Now, a lot of people may not know, but Snapple facts, the Soundboy Burial was shot in Harlem. It was shot on 126th or 127th Street in the park in Harlem. And let me tell you, we filled that whole park up. Like, how does Brooklyn cats go to Harlem and fill a park up? Like, you see all the people pushing at the gate, those are all our peoples. Like, we know those many peoples. Like, those not extras, those not actors. Like, those brothers that was in there, G. George, the comedian G. George, a lot of those people, those are our family. You know what I'm saying? The little girl dancing at the end, that's my little cousin. You know? Jadon and his brothers, like, those are family, man. It's like, yo, we had the, I ain't gonna lie, at the end of that video, I had a headache. I took the train home from 125th Street. Word. I had a a
From
limo.
Northeast,
I was like,
Northeast
nah,
Harlem, 125th.
Word, 100%. I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm not getting in that limo. I don't even like limousines. Y'all go ahead and get in there. I'm taking the train. I'm getting on the A train. Word. I'm going to take this long ride back to Brooklyn because that was a success. But it was tough, man. It wasn't no easy trip, man. Word. But Brooklyn accepted it, and people accept it to this day. That's one of our biggest joints. You know what I mean? And when we go, everywhere we go, it's no doubt we cannot leave the stage without performing that song. Word.
One thing
no
about
matter
it,
where we at.
Soundboy Burial was dope as hell, but I gotta say, one time, I mean, I loved one time when I first. I mean, it's. I think people, you know, one thing about it, and I think this is why you all resonate in terms of favorable and with the nostalgia y'all bring, because not only were y'all keeping it rugged, I mean, because you and Tech represent Brownsville and Bed-Stuy respectively.
Yes, sir.
You know, in terms of, you know, and of course, shout out to our Brownsville brothers, Lave, you know, Lil Thane, Billy Dance, M.O.P., Fox, that
Word
whole
up,
split.
Posse.
You know, yeah, man, we interviewed
Master Ace is from Brownsville too.
Yeah. Lachey, you know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to the whole Master Ace Incorporated. Yeah, man, I mean,
word.
But not only that, not only did you all bring a style of MCing that was just dope, but you all brought a fashion sense that was just unbelievable. I mean, Timberlands, I mean, I think between y'all and Wu-Tang, y'all literally just outfitted all of us young boys in the 90s, man. I mean, we saw y'all and we were like, okay, this is what we got to do.
This is what we got to wear? All right, cool. Nah, that's what get us right. Nah, you know, like, you know, that was the dress code for us. Like, it worked because the place where we was at was rugged, man. And then, like, you know, as far as the Timberland thing go, that started for me in high school because, you know, it started out of necessity and trying to keep up with the times. Like, we wasn't fly enough to have all these different kind of sneakers and stuff like that. So if you get you a good, nice pair of rugged Timberland, a good pair of construction Timbs, that can last you probably the whole school year, you know? So we took it to another level and said, yo, if we all just rock Timbs all year long, then, you know, and it just became a thing. Like, we I don't think we didn't buy sneakers for probably for 10 years straight. Just like, nah. Like, you might have one or two pair of Jordans in your thing or Adidas or something like that. But before that, you know, it's like, yo, bro, we formed a brotherhood. And I remember, like, we was in the lunchroom. Remember high school lunchrooms? High school lunchrooms is scary. You know what I mean? It's not nefarious stuff going on in there. So I remember putting our feet in, you know what I mean? Like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And going, yo, you know what? From this day right here, we're wearing nothing but Timberlands all day. A dude like Tech already was coming to school with combat boots. So he's like, yo, those is cool, but we ain't about to get no combat boots, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got to be fly, too. So I think we started with the Tim boots that was like had a little bit of sneaker in it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we couldn't we still young, so we couldn't afford the things that we wanted until a little bit later. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, that was in the building, and again, salute all the soldiers and all the people that served, because that was a given. That was a layup. That came from, like, you know, rocking with Decepticons and having this soldier mentality and trying to like bring that forth. Again, it wasn't like we wasn't the kids that was gonna come out and be like, yo, we got the gold chains and we got all of this fancy clothes. It was, you gotta remember, back in then, dudes was fly. Gucci links, Cuban links, and rope chains and medallions and all that. That's also the era. That's also the crack era. So it's like, man, we not doing that. So you gotta pick your slot. And we was the soldiers. We was like that off top. So we was like, what you know, why run from being that and try to act like because we rapping now and now we're these fancy kids. We never lived like that. So that was for us. It was like a given to do that. And then when you got all your bros, like the boot camp, that's all family. So everybody was already on it when they was little. You know.
You know what's dope about you guys? You guys were like the front end when it came to fashion. Cause I remember looking at the merchandise next to between Wu-Tang, and you guys used to show y'all merchandise in the booklets. I remember going back to 95, 96. You guys were really pushing that line, along with Wu, along with Mobb Deep. They used to come and do it later.
I gotta big up Drew High and Buckshot, because Buckshot is way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. Mm-hmm. And his PNC is Drew High. And Drew High is about business. You know, he's busy about business, and his heart is with his family. So he's not one of those, how people say, culture vultures, is trying to eat off the young black kids and stuff like that. Like, dude, he'll come to the neighborhood. He'll sit with the family. I know his mom and his father and all of his brothers. You know, like, we are family. So it's like these guys, like, a lot of people don't know, Duckdown was ahead of the curve even with the internet game. Like, I remember going to Duckdown Records, and these guys was like, "Yo, we're gonna have you guys online talking to your fans at 3:00." Right? I'm like, what? We just wanted to smoke weed and, you know, like, go back to Brooklyn. Like, we didn't want to be online talking to nobody. But when you do it, it's like, holy snap, this is incredible. Like, oh, this is interesting. You know, it's not like what we do now. We go live on the Instagram, or we go live on the Snap this, or, you know, all these different things, and it's immediate satisfaction. Like, you had to pick a time, let the fans know you go in there, and then, you know, do these things. So these guys was ahead of the curve with the promotions, and I got to give it up to Nervous Records too, because Nervous Records, they so old school that they. In a place where people are trying to get it fast, they was they was committed to doing vinyl. You know, which made us popular with the DJs. DJs, if you don't give a DJ vinyl, they like, yo, they feel left out. But when you give a DJ vinyl, they like, yo, word. Like, they still got. I bet you Stretch Armstrong got his first version of the Shinin. I bet you he still got that somewhere. In a crate somewhere. You know what I mean? Crate,
that thing is worth like $400. That thing worth like $400 off the top. You know they gonna be
with the scratches on it, right? With the blemishes on it. Straight.
Might be on eBay
selling his collection already.
You know,
but that was
wild.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, I was just saying,
go ahead, guys.
It's wild too, y'all, because when you look at it, King and myself, we talk about this all the time about the value of the physical copies. Now, before I get into that, we also got to big up Timbaland, because there was a lot of people spreading misinformation. A lot of people were trying to spread misinformation about Timbaland, and still are. And I'm going to tell all them Hotep Hooey fools out there right now, none of that is about
Timbaland, the producer?
No, the Boots.
Timbaland Boots.
They were trying,
okay.
Because there was an issue back in the early 90s, because I had the Source magazine where they actually interviewed Jeffrey Schwartz.
They were supporting the KKK or some wildness.
Which was not true. Mm-hmm. But that was some stuff that got put out there, which is why I tell people you got to be very careful about who you hear stuff from. But of course, you know, Timbaland is a staple. They never did any of that. Shame on those who still try to put that misinformation out there. You know, just wanted to clear that up. But getting back to what I was going to say about the vinyl, King and myself, we talk about this all the time, about the value of the physical copies in terms of the CDs, the singles, the albums, you know, how marketing, this also goes back into marketing, because, you know, this was essential, you know, in terms of, you know, record stores getting the advanced copies, the DJs, because like you said, Steele, when you're dealing with college radio, you know, it's a crazy time. It was back then, because what it was, when you look at how music is marketed now, it's not hands-on like it was then. I mean, you're actually doing the college tours. You know, you got to make those.
That was on your contract. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you had the shout out And rest in peace to Rap City, you know, Yo MTV Rap,
Word.
you know, because
Word
I
up.
mean that was our street light back in the day. Like we were home by 4 and 4:30 faithfully to
Big
watch
Tigger.
the videos. Yeah, Big Tigger, Big Les, you know, Joe Claire,
Big
you
Les.
know,
Oh man,
you know, man,
all
I mean,
family, Joe Claire. Woo! I love to see Joe
Yeah.
Claire on Instagram. He's still funny. You know, he still got jokes, like real people. That's real.
You know,
All
Dr.
right, yo.
Dre and Ed Lover. You know what I mean?
Oh
that was,
man,
that's
oh
who
gosh, woo! Yes,
you know, as we're
yes,
older,
Personalities
still,
were
we
so
reminisce.
the personalities is what made it fun too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So it wasn't like they earned all those people you just named. They earned those slots, and if you got a chance to sit with them, was like, oh man, it was phenomenal. So you knew, like, it made you respect getting that position. It's not like, yo, I ain't coming to the game going, I'm the next Wonder Boy. Like, Smif N Wesson ain't, like, when we say not to go out like the rest to be the best just to get roughness off our chest, nothing less, get it on. Like, we was ready to do what the individuals that was before us, what they handed to us, we was ready to do that. You know, one time me and Tech went to a remember in stores? Remember record
Yeah,
our
for
records?
appearances, yeah.
You know, like you got guys who will go to the in store and you could meet your favorite rapper at an in store if you was lucky enough to get, you know, rest in peace Fat Beats. Fat Beats is still I don't even know if Fat Beats is still in Amsterdam, but
I think they got one in
know,
LA. I think there's still a store open in LA.
they still got Fat Beats in LA? Yeah. So
I
they still
so.
clinging on to the culture because now big up to LA, big up to the Bay Area. Word, because it's still like a little it's still like a couple of people that's like they're not letting that culture go. And now, like you say, the vinyl, the hard copies, it's becoming more of a cult collector's item than anything. I know people who got the Shinin revisited and it's still in the plastic. You know, it's like, yo, I need to have that. Like I can download the songs, but the physical copies. I grew up in an era like before hip hop, where my dad would play records, and before I could know what the records was, before I can touch them and open them and take them out the vinyl, I take them out the cover, the sleeve. I was reading the copy, the liner notes. Yeah. That's right. And then you got like, I mean, all of us know Prince. We all know Michael Jackson. Like, if you got some Michael Jackson liner notes or some Prince liner notes, bruh, you was on it. You know what I'm saying? You knew all the words of Prince. Like you was in the building. So it was like that connection or that interaction brought the fans. Like we was not only were we listening to the music, but we was reading about these people. And then you had that rest in peace to all of the thank yous on people's records. No more thank yous, no more big ups, no shout outs, or no nothing.
Ain't showing nobody the love today.
No love, It's my record, mine. You know what I mean? But what's crazy about that? Before we got on the air, you said something about Tupac, right? And Tech, like Tech is the governor, right? He is such a people person when it comes to like dealing with these people. I'm more of an introvert, but Tech, like on the back of the liner notes on the Shinin, he kind of gave a big up to Tupac and Mike Tyson, like. Mike Tyson is like his favorite guy because he boxed in the gym around the corner from him and all that, and he a Brooklynite. But Tech said these beautiful things about these brothers, and that I think in turn kind of led to dudes going, yo, yeah, let's reach out to them. Like these guys is cool because you don't know. Like right now, everybody they set tripping. You don't know what block you can go on to unless you know somebody of substance. And it's like it's so rigid. It's a little bit more rigid now. It should be a little bit more loose, especially the fact that dudes is claiming they're getting all this bread and stuff. But I can't throw no stones on that one.
Yeah, man. When you look at that time, man, I mean, especially because when we talk about the physicals, we're talking about it because we interviewed OC last year. Shout out to OC and DITC.
Word.
Because when you're talking about physicals, when we look at some of those albums now, OC's, I think Word Life, last time I checked a couple months ago, was going for like $100 vinyl online. I think the cassette was maybe going for $70. Yeah. Shout out to Uncle Big Hutch from Above the Law. We interviewed him this past Friday.
Word.
Uncle Sam's Curse, that album is going for like $100 on eBay.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
Valuable gems, man. Very valuable gems, man. You know.
Yeah.
I used to go back in the like I wasn't even a DJ, and you know there were so many little record stores. It was like record stores and books. Like they was, you know, you go to the bookstore, they sell records in it, and I was hip to that from my old man, from my pops, and I would go in the spot, and even then, like you see records in there, and you know, like the DJs know what records to get. The crate diggers be knowing what records to get. But I ain't gonna lie, I was buying the records that was $1, $5. Like when you see those records that was 50 and 70, like nah, I'm not doing that. Like, but you knew that record must have been high powered, you know what I mean? But like, so yeah, it's deeper than rap. It's way deeper than rap. Like this is a part of history. This is stuff that is super valuable, and you probably never gonna get it anywhere else, you know. And people know about it, man. You used to have guys coming from Japan coming and buying like boxes of your stuff. And then when you go overseas, like people always say, like, is it better overseas or whatever the case may be? I don't know if I can say it's better, but I will say that the culture is appreciated more. Like it's like dudes over here kind of like we ran out the culture, so we're not even considering that. And the rest of the world is going, yo, nah, this culture is rich. You know, it's full of things. Like, you talk about fashion. You talk about, like, this is the universal language. This is the only this is the only genre of music that utilizes every genre of music.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
We've never heard anybody say that, but that is the perfect description of it. Yes.
Yes, sir. It's the universal language, and we control it. How ill is that? So it's kind of interesting to see the record labels or people that got overhead go, yo, nah, I need in, you know. And now look we got artists now that are in the Forbes magazine. That's incredible. That's nothing that we aspire to do. It's like everybody that was rapping initially was talking about how tough it was on the block. You got a guy like Jay-Z who was talking about he used to sell this and sell that. Now he on the Forbes list. You know what I mean? You got a dude that can come out, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. You got a dude that can come out, and if he's really good and he's really, like, applying himself and applying his skill set, like, he can become a rich guy. Like 50 said, get rich or die trying. Like, you don't got to die trying. You just got to be confident in what you do and respect the game and respect the culture, and people will support you. And, then there's the other half where people got to pay attention to too, because when you're in the wilderness, there are wolves there. You know, there are lions, tigers, bears, and wolves and snakes and, all kind of, things that you got to be prepped for. So once you lose yourself in that, then you jeopardizing everything that you built up to that point.
Yeah. The business of it, is one thing, because, like when Biggie said on Juicy, remember Rap and Duke, you're hard, you never the hip-hop will take it as far. You know what I mean? And, when we look at it from that perspective of the time, you all are coming out in that early 90s era, so we're still roughly about maybe 2 or 3 years away from when it really becomes like really a thing, like we're really seeing like the money, in terms of like, of course, with Bad Boy, Puffy, Cash Money,
sir.
or, consider where the money, that's called the bling era. Cash Money gave it a name,
absolutely.
but
Puffy the shiny bling era,
yeah. But Puffy gave it the identity as the shiny suit, where Cash Money gave it the name.
Right.
So we're looking at this now. What was the business like for y'all? As because you and because you and Tech are like a few years into the game now. What was it like in terms of what you learned in the business and how you saw the aesthetics change going along?
It was tough, man, because we had nothing to do with that era. That bling era, that was a dark period for us. Not only we going through. Now, we're a little bit more mature, so we know about the business per se. And you know, and now it's almost like, yo, you're only a few years in, and your style of fashion is not popping anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to either, you know, you got to fall back, take some lessons, or do as they do. And I don't think that, you know, going to the when the roots stay like do what they never do, what they do, what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it don't fit, man. It don't fit. That glove ain't fit us. So it's like it was tough for us at a moment, and we was going through legal stuff. So as the labels is trying to rape and pillage, then you trying to find yourself within this game that's changing, constantly changing. But that's what hip hop is, man. Hip hop is that child that grows very fast. Next thing you know, that child's going to college. Next thing you know, that child is a son. I mean, a father or a mother, or going into the military. And you're like, wow, my baby grown. Yeah, it's grown. You know what I mean? It's very vast, and there's a lot of chambers to it. So I'm just grateful that we was able to see all of those things through and stick to our guns and just still be tech and still, you know. We had a little hiccup with Cocoa Brothers with the lawsuit and stuff like that, but we were still able to still able to create music that we was on. If not for that change, we probably wouldn't have had songs with Raekwon or songs with
and tell us
Professor
about
X,
how that
Rest
happened
in
with
Peace.
Black Trump, because that was, oh my God.
That's one of the hardest
that
records
was
was
Big up to my
98.
man. Yo, are you kidding me?
That was
oh man.
Yep.
Big up to self services. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Self services is still out there. He one of the queens. He's a Queens cat, but you know he's a worldwide international cat at the same time. He's still out there doing what he do, and I think he's like probably in his 50s right now, strong. You know what I mean? And like these guys, him and his team, and my man Gavin is married to. I don't mean to put dudes business in the street, but it's a family affair for real. You know what I mean? Gavin is the guy who I had met through Tech, the governor, and we started building on tracks. And he was I guess how you say, managing these producers. So dude gave us the beat, and it had Raekwon. Guess who's that was already on it. So I'm like, yo, we gotta get Son. Like, we can't do this track without having Son on it. Like, we from Brooklyn, so we don't believe in just using people's voices and like, yo, that's Hamid's son, that's homage. Nah, we out here in the world, like, we got to go get them. And I'm telling you, let me tell you, man, it was so. I can't tell you the whole story because it was crazy.
Understood.
But
it's okay.
But half of the story is we had to go to Shaolin. And like probably 2-3 times. And me again, remember, like, I'm kind of the introvert. Tech, he's like, yo, whatever, we're gonna go to Shaolin. I'm like, man, you telling me we gotta get on a boat right now? We gotta go to get Raekwon. We gotta get on a boat, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, you can't just call him, bro. Like, now we had to go to Shaolin, go to a party that they was having out there, and I'm gonna tell you, Shaolin is vicious. So when we went out there, like, they already had Bloods and Crips out there.
Oh wow!
Like, Bloods and Crips wasn't out in Brooklyn like that, just in the jails. But they already had dudes.
That's what OG. That was OG Matt when he started United Blood Nation in the '90s.
Yeah,
I know about that.
Yeah. So
Soundview with Pistol P. Yeah.
Oh,
go
man,
ahead.
Allen, it was scary, bro. It was like, come on, you already in the Bronx, 100%. So them cats was heavy up there. But when you went out to Shaolin, like, you on the island. Like, I ain't used to that. I don't like to be boxed in like that. But, you know, we went to this party. We was hanging out with Raekwon. We ain't talk about no raps at all. We just was there. We just needed to. We needed to. That's some real mafia stuff too. It's like, yo, come to the neighborhood, hang out, and then we'll see if we do the song. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, come on, bro. Like, what we got? So we had to do that like 3 times. Like the first 2 times we went out there and seen the show, it was like shootouts, police, cats getting arrested.
Oh Lord,
it was bananas. It was crazy. I'm like, yo, Tech, really? Yo, talk to your man. Yo, talk to Ray. Yo, what's up? I ain't coming to the next one, bro. Like, Tech, like, nah, we good. I'm like, man. Yo, this is what we got to do to get Raekwon on the track. Yo, this is crazy, man. And when we finally got this guy to come in the studio, yo, big up the Power too, because at the time I think Power was Raekwon point man.
Olu Power Grant,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and they was about their business. You feel me? They was about their straight code. And it's like, yo, we learned something from that negotiation. Because we had to really handle out. We had to grow up. When we did that song, we had to grow up. There was no more play games. Because prior to that, we wasn't hip to that game like that. You know, we didn't know about the game like that. What we learned a little bit about from Black Moon and stuff like that. But our crew was pretty much self-contained until we started doing joints with other people like that. And these guys put us on the game and, you know, how to make these labels pay. If they want the songs, and so on and so forth, and able to do the video. And I mean, to this day, we have an amazing relationship with Raekwon. Word. We went on tour. He took us on tour with him. Mm-hmm. Later in the years, we went on tour. We were on a bus with him. We learned a lot of stuff, man. Family ties.
What was it like during those days in terms of securing collaborations with artists, just in general, from who you all collaborated with and then, you know, just artists you knew in general? What were those politics like in terms of negotiating contracts, the labels talking to each other, just making sure niggas don't get killed when they talking to each other? What was it like during those days? Because it was
hectic, bro.
King made a great point on the show we had about how, you know, back in the day, you know, it just was organic, you know, because it was a big deal, like, you know, to really get guys on your project. Like, it really, like, back in the day, we see videos with cameos, like, for instance, like, when we saw the Jodeci Love You for Life video, we saw T-Boz in it, we were like, yo!
Yeah,
it was like a larger-than-life looking thing. Like, it's like seeing...
Yeah.
It was like seeing the Mega Powers together, man. It was like seeing...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's still like that. It's still like that, man. I mean, even today, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I see certain brothers, like, I'd rather see brothers do songs together than I see them beefing online. That's whack to me. Like, what y'all beefing about again? What happened? I think we all forgot about that. You know? Like, we love the crews. We love to see that. We love G-Unit. We don't want to see them beefing. We don't want to see 50 and Young Buck beefing. That's not cool. Nobody checks for that. You know, we don't want to see the gang beefing. The gang got busy. He came out and spit the first 300 bars. Like, ain't nobody ever spit 300 bars like that. You know, it's like we like those things. You know what I mean? We like the Bomb Squad, the producers wise, everybody that had crews was always fascinating. You know, we talk about Ice-T, talk about the crime syndicate. You know,
Henji and Eva Lee, the Rhyme Syndicate, all those guys.
So it's a few guys that still hold fast. Like, when we came out at a time when you had dudes like Hieroglyphics. Like, I love those guys.
Shout out to the Bay.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Bay all day. Shout out to the Bay. Now you got dudes that's trying to emulate these things, but you got to have shooters. You know, so it's like for Boot Camp Click. We was pretty much self-contained because we knew nobody initially. We didn't have access to those type of things, and our budgets were small. So we had to kind of build up to that, and we started by making really great relationships. One thing that's different now, that I really miss is the How Can I Be Down and the Jack the Rappers. You know, like, we had to get on the plane and go to Miami, or get on the plane and go to Atlanta, and then when you out there, all of the conferences, most of the conferences was in the South. I mean, Florida is not the South, but it's down, you know, south to us where we at, you know. So it's still country, and at that time you go down there, and like, this is where you see guys like Master P. Like, we went to one of the conferences. I don't know if it was How Can I Be Down or Jack the Rapper. Rest in peace, Jack the Rapper. But we was doing everything that everybody was doing. This is when you in the hotel rooms and you looking at the television, and on the television in your room, they're playing all of the guys that's hot right now. You know? And it's like, wow, you're going to see these guys later. Somewhere, you're going to see them on the show. We ain't going to shows. It was like, forget about the shows. We outside. We just outside with it. You know, when you start seeing guys stunting with the buses, you see the shorties, you see, like, you know, you out there in the world, and you got to remember, like, you come from this place where it's just dark and cold. I come from bricks and stones. I grew up in the projects, you know, Brownsville, like, Cecilo Project. And when you go out there, you in Miami, you want to strip. You're like, whoa, okay. Like, you know,
because we're going to get to that. It's great you mentioned that, because that's relevant, because we're going to get to that later for one of the dopest tracks y'all dropped. Go ahead, because we're going to get to that too. Go ahead.
Now, well, I mean, I want to tap on that, because if you talk about, like, the climate of getting people to get on songs with you, first and foremost, they got to like you. You know, they gotta respect you. They gotta respect your craft. And then if it's politics there, and the money is right, then dudes, they want to work. You know, like getting a guy like Professor X was a dream come true, because you grew up with these guys. You grew up with X Clan. It's like, okay, if you're able to meet them, you gotta go and greet them with respect and handle the situation. Like, yo, I want to make sure this is no disrespect. Like, one of the guys who I have yet to do a song with, Chuck D. That's my top guy. You know what I mean? I've spoken to him. I'm still fan. When I see him, I still get kind of like, you know, sweaty palms. You know, it's like, you got to have a respect for your forefathers, and these guys, they deserve it. They set that template. You know, so it's like, yeah, the politics is gonna definitely it can make you or break you, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If it's for a betterment of the culture, yes, let's ride out.
Definitely. Now, in terms of collaborations, because King had mentioned this earlier as well, because tell us about with Tupac, because Tupac wanted to work with y'all. One Nation. What was going on with that? How did that come to be?
That going back to the Shinin, you know, like Tech. I think at the time when we dropped that album, Pac was in prison, and you know,
Clinton Correctional Facility up north. Yeah.
Yep, he was in Clinton. Yep, and Tech has said, you know, he again, the governor, he does away with words. He said something on the thank yous, and he bigged up not only Pop, but, you know, I think Tyson was going through his thing too at the same time. So Tech was like, yo, hold your head, to get all these haters and stuff like that. It was just showing love, and that was like out of the blue. You know, that wasn't something we discussed. Like, yo, we're gonna send a shout out to these guys and that guy. That's what he wanted to say. And I think it resonated, because you got to remember, like, the Outlaws is from a large percent of the Outlaws are from New Jersey. You know, Yaki Gaddafi, rest in peace, is from Jersey, and Yaki Gaddafi and Tupac is like cousins.
Yeah.
So can you imagine, like, the Jersey rock with Brooklyn hardcore.
Right.
And Jersey cats is so worldwide. You're gonna find a Jersey cat in the Bay Area, easy. Now, what you got to remember, Tupac is a son of a Panther. Yaki Gaddafi is a son of a Panther. Like, these are Black Panthers. There's pictures of them as little kids together. They friends. So can you imagine, like, Yaki Gaddafi going, yo, I heard these cats from Brooklyn, son. Yo, we gotta holler at them. Now they official. Now we're gonna get them. That's what's up. Who can't? Word. You know what I mean? So Pac going, yo, get him. Let's go. Soldiers up. And you know, we meet Pac, and Pac is about that soldier life. That's what he about. So when we meet him, we not those rappers who are going, hey, we're the rappers. Hey, we're the rapper guys that came to do the rap thing. yeah, where's the hotel? Where's our Where's our limousine? They always some crazy stuff. We would soldier it all the way up. And Pop was like, oh, I like these guys. No, I like these guys. Nah, this is good. We could do this. You know? So our relationship formulated just out of just reality, man. You know, so I would think it spawns from. I would have to give the Outlaws big up to Noble and EDI is on my project, by the way. Big up to Mutar. You know what I'm saying? Mutar's in the Middle East somewhere. He got a coffee shop. Brothers is doing decent. You know what I mean? Putting it big up to Castro, Killer Castro. That's family, man. You know what I mean? Set your way.
And how many songs exactly did you guys do over there at that time?
How many you say?
Yeah, how many?
We did about 8. I would say about 8, 9 joints. Like I'm on about 8 joints. It was a joint that Tech did, and I was kind of jealous because I ain't get on that song. That joint was so hard. I was mad. I was like, what? All I can remember was the chorus. Go. I just want to get it on. Let's fight. I got something in my pit that make your jaw tight. Go. I just want to get it on. Let's fight. I got something in my pit that make you super niggas jaw tight. And I think Melly Mel was on that joint. So you pop up in the studio and you have guys. He had guys in there. You don't know who's gonna be in there that day. You know what I mean? But he invited us down as family. And what we do, like boot camp, like we are hustlers. We are conniving. We are like, you know, we are the wilderness. So we gotta have a meeting. Like, yo, we gotta make sure we on the best songs. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, we gotta talk to Pop immediately. Like anything we could get on.
Hello? King, you with us?
I think his call got dropped. He probably gonna call us back.
Perfect. It's all good. Yeah, man. Brief intermission.
Yeah, just call us back, man.
Yeah, call us back. We see you. King, is this not like one of the most hilarious and just entertaining and historically just relevant interviews we've ever done, man?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, we get a lot of good insight on here.
Yeah, but I think one thing about it, when we look at what, you know, Smif N, wesson, you know, Black Moon, the original Gun Clappers, you know, Helter Skelter, the whole boot camp clique as a collective, they really helped define an era, a generation of hardcore hip-hop, you know, with just, you know, just lyrical dexterousness, you know, an elite sense of composition, and most important, you could listen to those guys and just tell they had fun doing what they did. You know, and that's, you know, that era that, you know, during that time was just something that cannot be duplicated for what that energy was. I'm still laughing about the story when they had to go to Shaolin. I want to know the other half of that.
That was
I know
hilarious.
We can't talk about it, but but man, but for those that don't know about it out on Staten Island, you know, especially, you know, where the hoods of Raekwon or Ghostface from, you know, Park Hill and Stapleton, respectfully, you know, it's real out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got him back. He's back on.
Okay. He's back on? Okay,
yo,
perfect.
Yeah,
we here.
Yo, pardon me. I was running my mouth just now. I'm like, wait a minute. I think it's just me.
You good.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Technology.
But I was gonna ask you all, because there was a studio footage of y'all working together, man, and Pac was moving like Van Goon in that studio, man. Like the way he was moving, the way he was rapping. It was like a tense atmosphere, but you guys fit like a glove.
Yes, sir. Pac is a very passionate. When it comes to that music, he about that life. We ran around town with him. Like I said, we stayed in the crib. We stayed in his house in Calabasas. We chose to do that as opposed to staying in the hotel room. It kept us close to his family. We broke bread. I'm talking about we eating turkey, bacon, eggs, and flapjacks in the morning with the bro.
Oh wow!
So it's kind of like you know, it's revealing where we don't have to deal with each other as artists. Like we laughing and joking. We having like we human. Like with the human. We don't see that guy that you see that's like, oh my bitches, oh my. We don't see that guy. Like that guy is like, all right, cool. Like that's the guy. That's the artist guy. But we see this guy coming in from work in the morning after he shoot the film, after he shoot the movie. He's up. He's smoking weed with us. I'm like, I don't know where he get all this energy from. Then you got to remember, this guy's in his 20s. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, that's a young, fiery spirit right there. And he's son of a Panther. So I don't know if this guy, like, oh my gosh, like nobody ever heard it. This is ill. Like, one time we was in the room when we was in his crib, and he was showing us a video, right, that ain't come out yet. I ain't going to say what video it is because that's not important. But we was in the crib watching this video, and Pac was telling us his plan, what he was about to do and how he was going to, you know, set things up and do this, that, and the third and all this. And we were smoking so much marijuana, man. I fell asleep on the floor, right? I woke up, and everybody had went to their rooms. Everybody had in the crib, in the same house. Everybody had a room in the house. And I woke up, man. We was watching the video in Pac's room. So I woke up, and I had to bust a pipe. I had to bust a mean one. You know what I'm saying? And when I got up, everybody had left the room, and Pac was sleeping on the bed. So to go to the bathroom, I had to walk past him. His jewelry and stuff was on the dresser. So for me, that was a wow, surreal moment. I'm a Brooklyn dude. Like, Brooklyn is criminals. Like, Brooklyn just make you be a criminal. Brooklyn's like, yo, you gotta be a criminal to live here, son. You gotta have a clean mind, son. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm like, yo, I swear to you, like, I did not want to walk past this man. He's sleeping. I'm talking about the most vulnerable place for any person, right? But this human, this bro that people think like this nefarious guy or whatever. This is a human. It's somebody's son. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody's brother. So I'm like, wow, I gotta go walk. I felt so weird walking past dude while he was sleeping on the bed to go to take, you know what I mean? And then walk past. I had to like tiptoe. I'm like, wow. To the places and the things that we have seen and we have learned, you know, I think shaped and mold us to appreciate the gifts and the blessings, to be better individuals, to give it back to the people, because that's what it's really for at the end of the day, you know?
Which is the perfect segue for the boot camp project y'all did for the people.
For the people, yeah.
What was that like in terms of all of you collectively coming together for it? Just the whole crew, because that was the first of 2 compilations y'all did together.
Yeah.
You know, Basic Training was the second in 2000. What was the first? What was that like though when y'all did For the People?
But For the People was interesting because we was literally like we was young. You know, we knew nothing. I think Buckshot and myself, we started dabbling. We had just came off of messing with Tupac. So our mindset was totally different when we came back from rocking with Son. Like, because the way Pac had it laid out, like, Pac had old school lessons. Like, Pac was literally going outside, getting the dude on the corner to sing the chorus, right? Pay them. And then later on, he would probably get, like, Jodeci or somebody, you know what I mean, to do the chorus. Like, we wasn't hip to that type of stuff. He had producers. Pac was in the studio going, yo, who got beats? You know what I mean? And if the beat is dope, maybe he'll get Dre to redo this or redo that. So these guys was in a format for creating songs, and at such a rapid rate. So when we came back, we did the For the People album, and we did the Rude Awakening with that same mentality. But the boot camp brothers, they wasn't hip to that. They was like, yo, I'm not really with like dudes playing the piano and the guitar. Why is the guitar guy here in the studio? Why is it a guitar guy here? Like, they just wanted like the hard boom bibby. So it was a little bit. It was difficult to break through with those guys. But I'm, again, it's for the people, and we was able to pull it off. It was a tough album to create, though. That For the People joint. I don't think we got it together until probably Last Stand or Chosen Few. Chosen Few we missed on Rockman's Monster. Rock was in the Bay Area, and Cali at the moment. So it was just getting that perfect boot camp click album. I don't think that came until the Last Stand. It was super late, but having those type of artists, that caliber of power to work with, is going to be always challenging,
Yeah, and of course we can't. We be remiss still in terms of when we mention the boot camp. We be remiss without mentioning, Sean Price, Big P, one of the, just one of the best ever to do it, man. I mean, what was
100%.
this? Do people really, really, really understand the impact, the legacy, the creativity, that man really brought to the game as an artist and as an individual?
It's gonna take it's like prophecy, You're gonna get the prophecy when it's written. You're gonna get it later. It's gonna your kids gonna get it. It's like
right.
What it's interesting because I had a conversation the other day with a brother, and I realized something about Sean that I never paid attention to because when you have people that's around you, you kind of you take advantage of that. To someone on the outside, they might go, yo, this is crazy. You really know this person. Like, yo. But I was having a conversation. I'm like, I realized that I knew Sean Price before the boot camp click was ever formed. So when you say 360 degrees back home, we started as friends. We started as family. Little kids in Brownsville, right? We met in a place called the Heritage House. We grew up in the era of it really was places to go for little kids. When your mom will kick you out the house, your granny was like, "Yo, go outside." You go to the Heritage House, you over there. It's books, it's culture, and you meeting people in the neighborhood. So I met Sean Price through this facet, and then later on we became part of a super group, and we traveling the world together. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
We're not a part of. I mean, you could say we're a gang. You could say that. I guess you could say that. But, it's more respectively, it's these guys became a group of a talent group that went across the world, South America, Europe. We traveled together, and we brought this language from Brownsville, from our culture, created in the boroughs, created in this metropolis, created in amongst the impoverished individuals from different regions as it culminates up. We was able to be the vanguards of that together with the rest of our 6 brothers. And I mean, for me, it's still mind blowing for me, to have been a part of that. So I can imagine what Primo feel like when he thinks about Google. I can imagine what Eminem feels like when he thinks about Proof. These guys are the pulse of the people, and then to have them, they're gone. It's an atrocity, but then at the same time, it ushers you to go. If you respect that, then you have to push. I respect the fact that Sean Price was the type of person he was, and until people honor that, but people love that guy, man. They love him because it's hard not to. You're either gonna love him or you're gonna hate him, for real. That is the black Johnny Cash right there. he definitely walked that line. That guy right there, yeah, he's I seen him perform at a show in Europe and say, "Slave master, I sell white girl." Right, in Europe, it's nothing but white females in the front of the stage. Like, with such confidence.
Right.
They're like, I love it. Woo! Peace. Like, yo, this guy's incredible. Like, no falter. Like, you know what I mean? But everything that he did, as far as for us, for the culture, it was passionate, and he loved to do it. And he had a lot of fun. He would always say, like, yo, like, he's like, I rap. He's like, I be saying the most ridiculous stuff, son. Like, I remember before he passed away, he was like, yo, I don't know if I could do another album. I can't think of no more stupid shit to say. I'm like, yo, son, like, just that right there, like, just knowing that, like, it's. He know he's responsible for entertaining folks, and he never wants to take it too serious where it can't be fun and it can't be like hardcore, especially with the stuff we grew up off of. Like, you can't make no how you say, sucker MC raps, Sucker MC is not.
Now check this out, y'all. Now, this guy here, New Jerusalem Journalist, diehard boot camp fan from the Collie. Big shout out to him. He wants to know, when are we finally getting the Shinin Part 2 100% produced by the Beat Miners?
Oh, man. See? He's like a troublemaker, that guy. That guy's definitely a troublemaker right there. Word up. Put the check by his name. Yo, let me tell you something, man. It would never be a Part 2 with Shinin, man. I'm going to tell you something. When we did the album with Ninth Wonder, salute to Ninth Wonder and the Soul Council. That's what Ninth Wonder said. Ninth Wonder, when we landed in NC, Ninth Wonder picked us up. How ill is that? He ain't sent his mans or his, whatever. He picked us up in his car, right? And carried our bag. He's like, yo, let me get the bags for you. I'm like, yo, this is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, this great man is like, yo, let me do this and do that. He's a very humble brother, man. Great man. He's like, yo, and on the way to, we ain't go to hotel. We went straight to the studio from the airport. Bags, everything. And he was like, yo, this is what I want to do. I want to do a Shinin Part 2. He's such a genius. Don't smoke, no drink, right? No liquor, no reefer, no crazy stuff. But it didn't matter what we did. It didn't affect him. He didn't try to make us, turn us into some other kind of what we wasn't. He actually called Evil D Mr. Wall. Salute to the Beat Miners, the originators of that. He actually called Mr. Wall and was like, yo, how did you do la la la? How did this work? And da, da, da. So he was looking for tips from these guys, because his what he wanted to do was a Shinin Part 2. That's what he said in the car. And checking myself is like, man, that's gonna be tough, man. Everybody want a Soundboard Burial Part 2. Like, we try to make a Bucktown with MOP. Salute to my bros. Like, it's not really Bucktown. Now, I think the only time we came close was when we last year, before the pandemic, the year before the pandemic, we did a joint with Beat Miners called Bucktown 360. And I think that probably went over a lot of people's head, because right after that, the pandemic hit. It was crazy. So we were celebrating our 25th anniversary of the Shinin, and we wanted to do a song. So we revisited all our old stuff and went back and got back with Nervous Records. Salute to Mike Weiss. We put all of our differences aside and was able to do a deal with Mike Weiss just to do a single called Bucktown 360. You know what I mean? So a lot of the campaign went behind that, but again, we came back and we had a tour set up for the whole 2020. And keep in mind, like 2019, we was on the road promoting the all 2019. So 2020, we was gonna come back and probably do like this wild boot camp. I mean, not boot camp, but this Shinin 25-year anniversary, and we had the single, and we were gonna really try to do that. But other than that, we don't. It's difficult to try to duplicate greatness. We made that. That was the time and the place that we was at before, and we got to kind of let that live where it's at, I think, Other than that, hopefully we can make something that's just as good, if not better. You might get a monumental, or you might get an all part 2. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there in the wilderness right now. So keep your antennas up.
Yeah, I also want to throw up, too, that you guys were another way, and this is clever marketing, too. This is why I started really paying attention to the marketing aspect of how you guys did things, was when y'all made y'all come back after Priority, y'all left Priority, y'all linked up, I think, with Echo, and y'all had the triple play marketing plan with Chemistry, Reloaded, Monkey Balls, y'all had the comic book-like covers, and I bought all 3 of them joints that day.
Woo. That's a nice tri-pack right there. If you got them, if you got them all in the box, that's just again a collector's item. I think Drew High was smart for that. Again, that goes to the relationships, because if you look at boot camp, a lot of these companies, a lot of these fashion guys, they started as T-shirt guys. And who gonna rock the T-shirts? The rappers. I mean, Diddy and Jay changed the game when they just said, "Yo, we're gonna rock our own stuff." But up until then, we all kind of like was growing up in the game together. So we had great relationships at Echo. We knew Mark Echo. Like, we wasn't like, who is this guy? Mark Echo was the guy. We knew the guys at LRG. We was going to the factories. We was building with the families of these people. Again, there's so many individuals that's tied in, but I think like now people have figured out, like, they start being more covetous now and holding on to holding tight to the brands, and it makes it a little bit kind of corny, a little bit, because now you're charging people crazy amounts of money for stuff. So you boutiquing everything out, right? But at that point, we was starting with the brands, Cross Colors, Carl Kana. Like, we sat with these people, all these young brothers and sisters that was like on the come up. We were sitting there, like, we the young artists on the come up, y'all the young brand makers on the come up, Now everybody has a brand. Every rapper is making clothes. They got jeans and sneakers and all kinds of stuff right now. So, yeah, man, it's watered down a little bit.
It's wild to see how that branding happens in fashion, because when you mention Cross Colors, when you mention Carl Kana, I mean, we got to give shout outs to, of course, man, we gonna take it way back. I'm gonna hit y'all over the head. I mean, we got to take it back to Damage.
April Walker.
April Walker wear. Yeah, man. Of course, back in the day, you had Exhaust jeans, you had Damage.
Oh, gosh. Damage. If you had a Damage jean suit, you was the man, though. Chill. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm surprised. Yeah. Oh, man, see? You getting me hyped.
And of course, two black guys from Toronto. We can't forget them either. Yeah. Oh, man. See, that's real. What, we came through that whole, it's like we steamrolled through that time. And the culture was flourishing. It wasn't just about artists. It was the culture that was flourishing. So you was able to catch, like, even when you look at Bucktown, when you look at the video and you see us with the hockey jerseys,
You know, I forget the brother that used to do that, but he was working with the teams, and he was getting all the rappers was getting hockey jerseys. So it was like, yo, we got to get the hockey jerseys, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like our connection. We would not have been successful if not for college radio. College radio helped us, man, a great deal, because that's where all of your future fans are coming from. And you get to those homecomings, and you get to those parties that they having, and then they will remember. And you rock it right, they will remember you forever. Those are going to be the future everything. So we take a hit when we're not communicating with our people, when we're not in the community, and then you have these other things that are consuming us and making us turn into, like, as some people say, like, you know, something to turn away from, you know, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and like you said earlier about the Miami convention, of course, you know, because, of course, you had the new music seminar, the Jack the Rapper convention, because I told you we had to get back to it. 2019 album, The All. Absolutely phenomenal work. Shout out to Ninth Wonder. Ocean Drive, easily
Carolina,
my favorite
stand
track
up.
up there.
Woo!
Yes, easily Ocean Drive, because I mean that was representing Miami. Of course, you have Music Soul Child on the chorus singing, and you got Rhapsody. How did that come together? Because oh my goodness, that is just one of the most beautiful pieces of just hip hop I've ever heard. I mean, tell us the story behind that.
Well, first of all, Rhapsody is down with the team. You know, Rhapsody is on. You know, she's on Jamala Records. You know, that's Ninth Wonder. You know, stable. And when she wasn't traveling, she was in the studio with us. Like they got a studio. They have a hub. Like the studio is almost like. It's not like you come in the studio and you're in the studio. Like you're in like the crib. It's a living room area, kitchenette type vibe, TV. So people, like the family members are sitting there watching television. And Rhapsody would just be chilling in her sweatsuits, you know what I mean? Just chilling like a little teenager or something. You know what I mean? She did probably like 2 videos when we was out there. We went to video shoots and all that. She was working on the project. And then other than that, her and Knife was like in and out of town, flying here, flying there. We was in the stoop, in the back room, working on the works. So she was around for that. And it's like, yo, you know we got to get a song together. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Yo, whatever, whenever, however. So when that song came up, it was like, I don't know. I think that was the one. Because before that, she's such a ferocious artist. Like you got to pick the right song for her to get on. Like you could put her on anything, really. But then it's like, yo, when we came up with the Ocean Drive, the Governor Tech, Smokey La, that was something that he had under his wing, and he wanted to do a song like that. And at first, I was like, man, I'm not good at girl songs. You know what I mean? I got a big beat, bro. I got a big beat. You know, but Tech is, you know, that's the poet. That's the poet man, and he came with that concept, and it just made sense. It's like, wow, if we're gonna talk about the Rada chicks that we rock with, because we wanted to make it like a me and my girlfriend type of vibe, you know. You know, like a pop joint type of vibe. And it was well, maybe we can get Shorty to talk about the dude aspect. You know what I mean? Like, I want a real dude. So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna kill it. That's you know.
When she got those Grammy nominations, because we talk about where hip hop is and how a lot of the real, you know, the hip hop that we really, really rock with doesn't get recognized. How big was that for the crew? Because she's part of it. How big for the crew was it when, although she didn't win, she got those Grammy nominations, really recognizing her ability?
That's like, first of all, like, she a cool chick to hang out with. You know what I'm saying? If that's your people's, like, y'all gonna be in the diner wilding. She got jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's very big. It's very powerful, you know, because that is not like easy mountain to climb. She put in a lot of work for that. So the
that's that Carolina determination.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
These guys I'm talking about, like when you go down there, like think of Crisis. You know what I mean? Like, because Crisis was our pretty much engineering for us. You know, like most of the sessions, like if not like 90% of the sessions, Crisis will hold us down, and then here you go, the Jedi will come in and be like, yo, hold on, let me turn it. He'll turn it all the way loud, and if it was whack, it ain't gonna make. How they say it? That ain't make the corner. That one ain't turned the corner. You know what I mean? It's mad joints, like probably like about 3-4 joints that didn't turn the corner. But it's like you already kind of like, you know what you want, and you're being honest and true to it. And I think that for Rhapsody coming under, like she's right close to ninth, coming up under that, she definitely represents that to the fullest. Especially being a female, it gotta be tough to hold on to those things. But she you know. And with the Grammy nominee, it's like, wow, you know, you just raised the bar with your family. And these guys are amazing, man. And they record like they're so, it's such an organic feel. I think that's why the All came out like that. Like it's such a real, everything about them is real. You know, like we was eating donuts together. You know what I mean? What's that donut shop? It's all across the country. What's the name of that donut shop, man? Not Dunkin' Donuts. What's the other one?
Not Starbucks.
Not Starbucks. Hell with Starbucks, man. Get that out of here. It's a coffee shop, man. I know. It'll come to me later. But it was like, I'm talking about, like, I'm just showing you, like, how again, with the Tupac situation, like, Tupac that's our brother. He's 22,
he's 25
23,
when he's
24, right?
Yeah.
So this the young man, you know. So now you
right.
around these young people. We talking about Joe, the donut shop. They got the app for the donut that tell you when they make the fresh donut. They
Dunkin'
got the
donut?
fresh. Not Dunkin'.
Okay, not Dunkin'.
Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme. That's
Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme.
Yeah,
yo.
Krispy Kreme.
Because we ain't got a Krispy Kreme in Brooklyn, in New York, right? So unless it's upstate or something like that. But like everybody in the stool was like, "Yo, Krispy Kreme." So it was like we just like it wasn't about rap. It wasn't about like who's better than who or none of that. Like Shorty got the Uggs on with the step. I got the the weather was beautiful by the way in NC. So we just comfortable. But we talking about Krispy Kreme. Yo, they got the fresh donuts. Yo, go get the donuts.
Yeah.
Come back. Like that was an issue. Like that like just the simple things that make us laugh and make us feel human enough to go in there and do our creative. There was no stress to create because there was no bar that we had to meet or go for. It was just like, yo, be you. Everybody in here is a great person. You know what I'm saying? Salute to all the other producers that was on the track that laced us too, man. Salute to Smitty the Kane. Sleeper.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing, Steele, when you're dealing with artistry. Back in the day, I always tell the young kids today that just that era, just the feel, the time, the aesthetics, the mood. It was just something that cannot be duplicated in terms of what it meant as a collective force with your contemporaries, what you all created together, the bonds, the camaraderie, just the humanity of it all. You all came up in an era that is golden in its age and platinum in its stats. And diamond in its legacy.
How about that?
We're getting ready. We don't want Blog Talk kick stuff, but we're gonna stay on as much as you can. But but for what it is, man. For you, for Tech, for Drew High, but the whole clique, Tupac, rest in peace. You all are loved. You are cherished. You are revered. You are respected. Thank you for all you. Thank you all for what you have done. Thank you for what you are doing now. Thank you for what you will continue to do.
Yes,
The
T-Max,
culture.
I got one more question I want to shoot at Steele before we bounce.
Yes, sir.
Now, have you guys worked with many hard producers? Have you ever considered working with Premier?
Absolutely. That's like he on the bucket list.
We
What's
need
crazy
that.
is that,
we need it.
Yo, are you kidding me? Like, I was about to, man, I'm like, yo, man, I'm about to kidnap that guy, yo. Like, what's crazy is that we grew up in D&D together. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Premier held down the B room. We held down the A room. And we used to see each other all the time, but the only song we ever did was 1, 2, and Pass. But that's a phenomenal song. You know what I mean? You got KRS-One on the joint. You got Dougie Fresh on the joint. Fat Joe. Who else is on that joint? J. Rue the Damager. Mad Lion. Like, so you had all these guys that was coming up. And, like, you were part of that? How? I don't know how we negotiated to get on that song. But I'm like, yo, I remember seeing all of those guys in the studio, bruh. Very intimidating, say the least. But Tech and Steele, I'm going to tell you, like, when we did that song, me and Tech went behind the booth. We went behind the board. Like, nobody knew where we was at. But we had to get low. It was too much of a party. It was too much, how you say, testosterone, and it was way too much. Like, come on, KRS-One and Dougie Fresh in the same room, like, that was nuts. You know what I mean? You got the young shooter, J. Rue the young shooter, but that's Gangstar Family. And Fat Joe the bully from the Bronx. Yo, I'm on this song, yo. I'm getting on this. He's like, no way y'all leaving me off this joint right here. But Primo doing that track, that was the only track we ever did with Primo. And to be that close, I always thought about that because at the end of the day, before it's nighttime, when we sign out, we definitely got to do something with the homie. You know what I mean? We got to revisit that one for sure. Word.
Yeah, so we putting that out there.
Man.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm gonna try to flex something because I'm friends with Black Poet and he did an album with Premier. So I'm gonna try to hit Poet
Black
and I'm gonna try to make that connection happen.
Yeah. Poet from Queens, you talking about? All right, word. So
yeah.
That's
yes,
the homie.
sir.
That's all family, man. Like all these guys is family. I think like Primo is such a particular dude. Like you're not gonna get a beat tape from Premier. Like he gotta make beats specifically. He is a doctor. Yeah, he gotta make that. This is the one that you're gonna rap to right here. Ain't no other version of what we're doing. So his science is, I respect him and I always look forward to it. If anything like that can happen, that's gonna be a kickoff right there. That's bucket list stuff right there. Word.
Yeah, we've heard the stories about Primo, how he is just surgical. Like rappers have said, Steele, he does not do beats on the. He's like, he don't give you a tape. You got to go in there and then he crafts it. It's like a painting.
Yeah.
He's painting
right
it
that
right
day.
as you are putting it together with the poetry.
Yeah.
He's putting it together.
He probably got a palm reader in there, somebody reading your tarot cards, right? He's like, nah, I know your whole background, son. Like, I got you. All these guys, man, you got to give them, man. Everybody has their the way they put it together, man. It's a beautiful marriage when it comes to fruition. So yeah, it's a lot of things. I look forward to doing joints with him. And there's a couple other brothers out there and sisters out there that, we just got to fortify the culture, man. I like what T-Max, what you were saying. Like, I appreciate the love, man, because all that do is give you juice. And that juice your battery up, to go out there and make sure you're doing the right thing. Because we the soldiers for this culture. At the end of the day, this is a Sean Price saying. At the end of the day, it's nighttime. Right? He's like, yo, the dudes is like, yo, y'all silly with the words. I'm gonna just get right to it. At the end of the day, it's nighttime. Like, what's the state of hip hop? Minnesota. You know what I mean? Like, you'll say it's the most arbitrary nonsense and be like, yo, I gotta laugh because we all here as vanguards of this thing. Like, you guys are vanguards of this thing. You guys are keeping it alive. Like, as we receive our flowers, I want to thank both of you brothers. You know what I'm saying? For being able to, like, being able to provide this food for the people. Without this, I mean, come on, man. You can't find this on YouTube. YouTubers already know how to shut us down. You know what I mean? If your stuff is not, acceptable to the gatekeepers, they don't care about the culture. You know, they can't put a commercial on top of your, slap some commercial on top of your stuff. And even the guys that was doing radio in the earlier days, like we had to have these commercials, and a lot of dudes like big up to Audio 2. You know what I mean? Awesome 2, my bad, Awesome 2. Awesome 2 used to have commercials with people from the hood, right? Come get your hair done at Jackie's. Like, they was going to people in Harlem like, I'm gonna put a commercial on the radio, like, you know, give me a couple of hours. Like, these guys are hustlers, man. This is what hip hop taught us. In order for us to survive, we gotta support each other. You know what I mean? So I salute you brothers, man. I appreciate you brothers, for real.
We respect and much love, and we also, you know, what you said about YouTube. We got to shout out our 40,000 subscribers to the Off the Cuff page. You know,
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, it goes without saying, Steele, you're welcome back anytime. You know,
thank you.
Bring the whole family next time. I mean, Drew Hall, Buck, everybody, they're all
yes,
welcome.
Sir. Well, what I will say this, pardon me, cutting your beautiful wisdom. What I will say this is my PNC Tech Smokey Live is putting out his solo album next month. So I think you guys are going to definitely have to chop shop and run through that, because Tech it's going to be it's the same but different. You know what I mean? So anytime I can come back here and visit you guys, and mi casa su casa the same way. I'm on deck for whatever, and I'm gonna patch you in with the bro, and it would be an honor. You know what I mean? I love to have good bills with good people. Word, that's our gift and the blessing.
Definitely.
Same time.
We definitely gonna stay in touch, man. This is not one of them deals where we just gonna do the interview, then you just disappear. We just disappear. We get the cloud off of you, and you don't hear from us no more. Nah, man, it's family here. We just
dig that. Give thanks, man. I'm here, man. Hit me up, man. Hit me up. You need anything, like whatever, anything I can get to you guys, from the bros, from Duckdown. You know what I mean? And the arm stretch far too. So
appreciate you.
Soldier up,
definitely,
baby.
man.
I got my fatigue on right
man.
Now. Yes, sir. T Max, King Eric, man. God bless you, brothers, man. Word up. Keep doing that real deal, man. We need y'all, brothers, man. Word is bond.
Definitely.
And we need them people out there, man. Off the cuff, man. No fronting, no stunting. Just keeping it straight to the middle. Up the middle, slam dunk. I throw it down, young dope like Barkley.
And on that note, finish it like Jordan on that last second jump shot at the buzzer, winning the game.
At the buzzer, baby.
Yeah.
Peace to the people. Power to the people.
Peace.
Yes.